Okay, guys, welcome to Knows What, and welcome to this podcast of the much awaited podcast, you can call it, the RS457 versus the R3. And we're going to include a few other players as well, like the Ninja 500, which fall on the same price point. But primarily, it's going to be the battle of the Titans, the newcomer, the aspirant, the challenger, the RS457, here to challenge the king of the segment, the Yamaha R3, which has always been around as a benchmark in and of itself. Now, yes, there was a lot of disappointment once the prices for the R3 were announced, but albeit what has happened, all things said and done. Now we are here with this comparo where we're gonna compare the specs, the features, and the capability, the character, because what you see on the spec sheet doesn't really translate into riding dynamics when it comes to real world conditions. That's most of the case for all you experienced riders out there, if you can agree with me on that point. And this I wanted to keep it very casual, and as if I am speaking to you guys one on one, because I'm being pounded with questions and the same kind of question time and time again: which one to buy, whether to go with the RS457 or whether to go with the R3. Now it's so close, like both of them are really good at what they do. Both of them are unique in their own separate ways. It's like having to choose between Kumar Sanu and Udit Narayan. It's like having to choose between Badshah and Honey Singh, or it's like having to choose between Sonu Nigam ji or Abhijit ji, like if you guys can remember. So it's like having to choose between Dr. Dre and Eminem, if that reference catches you well. So basically, as a Yamaha fanboy, yes, I don't want to be biased towards Yamaha or biased towards any brand for that matter, because the Aprilia RS457, I don't know whether you guys recall, I was among the first to feature the unboxing of the RS457 that a friend of mine bought 1100 factory back in 2017. And at that point in time, no one did unboxing videos or anything. I think it was one of its kind, and the video did really well. And yes, we all know the racing pedigree of Aprilia: 54 world titles and still counting, and their dominance in the world, the MotoGP scene, how close they come each time to beating the KTMs or the Ducatis with capable riders. So all of that racing pedigree translated into this 457. Like earlier we had seen the GP 150 or the Tour 150, which was showcased, and then I don't know, it is for the good. Like, I don't know, we would have enjoyed the 150s as much as we are enjoying the 457, because the 270-degree crank, the right kind of power and torque, the build as of such, the chassis, the brakes, the suspension, the wet weight, the power to weight ratio, everything is blended so perfectly. It's like sometimes you have a blockbuster in the making. You just know that. Like when you saw the first glimpse of KGF, we knew that it's something different. It's here to actually make a statement. When we saw Black Panther for the first time, Chadwick Boseman, the late Chadwick Boseman, you can't replace him, and the screen is owned by the man. And that's how the RS457, right from the outset, right from the word, we got a glimpse of it, then the teasers and the track action, then the premieres, and finally getting our hands on it, the track test and the road test, and eventually you come to a conclusion that, boy, this thing is an absolute blockbuster, an absolute statement made by a manufacturer, beckoning others to match their class, or beckoning others to match the kind of package they have on offer. Okay, now all this intro aside, let's talk about the features. Now Kawasaki, let's get it done over with. Kawasaki Ninja 500, a very lackluster launch, to be honest. You guys know that I own a 6R. I'm really proud to own a 6R. I waited and waited for it to relaunch, and they've gotten the bits right. Yes, they don't give you a 6-axis IMU, they don't give you a steering damper, they don't give you an auto blipper, but the engine, man, is the gem of an engine, and it's on a different league altogether. So you have a manufacturer, Kawasaki, who makes the Z900, which is a performance statement, the Ninja 1000 SX, which is a luxurious comfort statement. Like, there is nothing that pampers you like a Ninja 1000 SX with the kind of features and the kind of price tag it had on offer. And then you have the ZX10R, absolute powerhouse that has been dominating the WSBK. And suddenly you also have a really good contender with the Ninja 650, which has the tried and tested 650 parallel twin power plant, right kind of power and torque. It's a torque master. I mean, it lifts off at will. That's the kind of torque delivery it has on offer. Why would you go with a 500, for God's sake, just to match the Aprilia 457? Was it the Aprilia 457 effect that had a saying at the Kawasaki that we got to come out with a larger capacity motorcycle? Now, people are wise enough to go beyond the cubic capacity. Like, they just don't look at the CC. They look at the equipment, they look at the handling, they look at the character, they look at the riding dynamics. They are equipped with knowledge these days. They know what they are buying, they know what they want. So giving a liquid cooled 4-stroke parallel twin 451cc, a 451cc, and calling it a 500, again, doesn't make sense. Okay, you get a DOHC layout, that's a good thing. 8-valve engine and high tensile steel chassis, 45 PS. Like, seriously, 500cc motorcycle, 45 PS. I mean, the new Duke 390 puts out more power than that at 46 bhp. Why would you offer a 500cc motorcycle at 45 PS, that to a parallel twin? At least you could have given 50 PS. No, that's not the case. Again, the torque is 42.6 Newton meters lesser than that of the Aprilia. So it just doesn't just add up. Again, you have a single disc up front, not even a twin disc. You have a single 310 mm semi-floating disc and a 220 mm single disc at the back. So the value proposition at 5.24 lakhs ex showroom, goodness gracious, why would you shell out that kind of a cash for an equipment that falls short in almost every aspect? So let's do away with the Ninja 500. Doesn't stand a chance when it comes to value proposition, when it comes to the R3 or the RS457, which currently stands as the value champ. Now, looking beyond the Kawasaki 500, let's get into the crux of the matter now. The 457cc parallel twin, 4 valves per cylinder, liquid cooled engine, comes with ride-by-wire, slipper clutch, you name it. This one has it. It has traction control, which is switchable. It has ABS, which is switchable. It has optional quick shifter. Boy, they have given everything. Like, no one saw this coming. It just appeared right straight out of the blue, and the 457 takes the checkered flag easily when it comes to the spec sheet champ. So you have 48 PS, 43.5 Newton meters, 6-speed super slick gearbox. Yeah, so when it comes to the gearbox, now let's talk about each of the motorcycles in detail, such that you get a very good idea as to what you are getting yourself into. Now, when it comes to Aprilia, you look at their history. They launched the SR150, which is one of the most best performing scooters, or the best performance scooters in India that India has ever seen or witnessed. The SR150, then the SR125, then the Storm, and all these motor scooters. These were really fast, and they were nailing the performance, but they suffered really badly in terms of comfort. The SR150 would break your back with stiffer suspension. It would break your wrists if you are really going hard on the city roads, tackling potholes and the rumblers and all. It literally would send your bones jarring down the line. So it is a performance statement. It is a track machine, but it doesn't belong for Indian city conditions, and that's the reason why you don't see them around, do you? We don't see an SR150 like as common as an Activa or a Jupiter. So what has happened to them? They were here for a while. That emotion, latched on. People bought it for the performance, but they couldn't just last long with it, because at the end of the day, practicality matters, comfort matters. You are not going to ride on a track every day. You're going to ride in the city with full of potholes and road repairs and dirt patches and rumblers and whatnot. So there you need practicality to take over. You can't just have a stone hard stiff suspension that is meant for the track to reduce lap times. That doesn't translate well when it comes to comfort on real world conditions. So that is that where the Aprilia RS457 also suffers? Is the suspension too stiff? Again, here is good news for all of you. It is not as stiff as the SR150 scooters, because they I think kept it in mind that at the end of the day they have to use it, and it comes with preload adjustability, so you can again further fine tune it, front and rear both. You can fine tune it as per your preference. Now what again matters here is the availability of spare parts and backing it up with good service, quality service. Now there was a lot of owners of Aprilia scooters who had called me, who had complained. They said this spare part is not available, the service is not easily accessible, lack of manpower, lack of technical know-how. So will that be the case with the Aprilia 457, or is that the reason Aprilia is taking their own sweet time before they start giving out the first lot, or start the deliveries of the motorcycles? Because they need to have a concrete plan at hand. They have a winner, they have a blockbuster, they have a amazing firecracker of a motorcycle. Now they can't just deliver it left, right and center and leave the service part empty. Though they have to ensure that this amazing motorcycle gets the quality service or the quality care it deserves to enable people to tap into the full potential of the motorcycle and enjoy it to the fullest. So that will happen when they have expertise, proper service staff, proper availability of spare parts, so that people don't have to wait for months together. Just like one of my friends' super bike had a minor accident and the front cowl got damaged. His bike, now he has to wait 6 months without riding his motorcycle just because his front cowl got damaged. Now why would you shell out lakhs of rupees and wait 6 months just to get the front cowl replaced? Now that is unacceptable. Would you want to refrain from riding for 6 months? God knows what's going to happen in 6 months. So that should not be the case. The availability of spares, the availability of expertise, the right kind of people, the technically sound service staff who can do justice, who can clear your doubts, clear the air on any kind of ifs and buts that you might have about the motorcycles, any teething issues it might encounter, and then allowing people to enjoy the bike to the fullest. So I think that might be one of the reasons the deliveries haven't even started here in Hyderabad. So God knows when this is going to start. But there are loads and loads of bookings, lots of expectations. So let's hope that with time this motorcycle will transform or redefine performance and become a benchmark in and of itself. Now that is not the case with R3. Now R3, Yamaha already have an established service network. They have an established bay. They have most of the centers who've been old Yamaha dealers. They have dedicated service staff for big bikes because they've been servicing big bikes over the years. So that might not be something that they have to worry about when they are launching premium products. So when they are launching the R3, they might have service staff or at least one technician in each dealership who is well versed with tackling or servicing big bikes. So that would be taken care of when the big bikes come for service. You are assured of the quality service, you are assured of the care or pampering that your bike deserves. At the same time, even the availability of spares, yes, it's a CBU, so whether the spares will be readily available or not is another question mark, because if it were a CKD, maybe spares would be much more readily available. rather than for a CBU. If the fairing gets damaged, if the lights get damaged, if anything major comes up, if the clutch plates need to be replaced, so if the clutch cable needs to be replaced, so we don't know what's going to happen. So that is one thing that is left hanging in between. So talking about again the RS457, the R3, so the safer bet, though you are paying more, around 50 grand more, yeah, the difference is hardly 50 grand when it comes to the on-road pricing between the R3 and the RS457. So in the RS457, you don't got a quick shifter as standard, and other electronic aids like some other basic things are available as accessories. Yes, you do get a handful of goodies with the standard fitment as well, like traction control and color TFT and ride by wire and all these things, which is not available with the R3. So that is where the RS457 gains the upper hand. But when you look at the heart of the matter, the engine, the tried and tested 321cc parallel twin has been there for ages. They've been fine tuning it for ages. So you're rest assured that the engine is going to last you a lifetime. Now we have, because the RS457 comes with a brand new engine, we are not, the future is uncertain. Whether it can withstand the Indian conditions, the Indian temperatures, whether heating would be an issue, whether heat management is well sorted. Yes, I have ridden it in the city. The heating is not to the point, like so long as you're wearing your foot gear and proper, I mean the standard gear, like if you're keeping your feet covered, you won't feel any heat beyond the point of it bothering you such that you'll have to stop. So heat management is well sorted for the RS457, and the heating issue, will it become a chronic problem if the bike is stuck in bumper to bumper traffic for a long time? Now that is a big question mark, because when I rode it all the way for my test ride, it was all flowing traffic. Never did I have to stop in bumper to bumper traffic. And so that is a question mark, whether if you get stuck in bumper to bumper traffic, will it overheat and will it tend to stall? Because this reminds me of the KTM's early era. I mean, we all loved the KTM performance. It just took the market by storm. People like fell in love with the kind of handling characteristics it had on offer, the design geometry, everything was out of the planet. I mean, out of the orbit. People had never experienced something like that before, that kind of power to weight ratio. Now, same is the case with the RS457, the aluminum twin spar frame, the press steel swing arm, the monoshock, the 41mm USD forks, the massive 320mm disc up front, the chassis geometry and the overall design language is so fulfilling and so, I mean, so beautifully done that you just want to own one for yourself. It is inevitable or irresistible. But practicality is something that you have to discuss and you have to think it over. It's not just the emotional rush that you get carried away after watching one review or watching one cinematic presentation. It's about practically thinking whether it will be the proper companion for you for day in and day out, for regular commutes to the office. You're not going to have a ball at the track day every day. You're not going to thrash it across a racetrack every day. If that was the case, then the RS457 is for you hands down. But if it is something that you have to use daily, if you want something to go for long distance touring, if it is something that you have to go to your village to visit your family and come back, then you need a reliable machine. You need something that you can bank upon. So this 457 unit is a brand new engine, and we need to test it out, and it has to stand the test of time to give us the confidence that yes, we can invest our money, invest our trust in this proposition. Whereas that is not the case with the Yamaha R3. It's been there, it's done that. It's been a rock solid fort. You can say it's been, it's like a wall. It's like Rahul Dravid. It's unshakable, unbreakable. It has been there for ages, and it has been satisfying the customers. There's not one R3 customer who is unhappy in this, at least to my knowledge, who can say that the engine has let him or her down. it has always been there, it has always supported. So long as you take good care of it, it never ever lets you down. So that is the case with the Yamaha engines and the Yamaha reputation and the credibility that goes as standard. Now apart from that, ground clearance is not particularly specified. Seat height is again 800 mm, so that is again manageable. It's okay, it's something once you get used to, it's not a big deal. Again 13-liter tank, okay, again it's not too puny like a 9-liter or 10-liter tank. 13 liters is decent enough. Again the power to weight ratio, now 175 kilos is the wet weight for Aprilia RS457, but when you look at R3, it is just 169 kilos of wet weight. So 6 kgs lighter in this segment really means a lot, and that too with a bigger tank. With a 14-liter tank, it still weighs just 169 kilos. So the weight advantage is clearly with R3, and that offers for a fatigue-free riding experience. Like you want a less heavy motorcycle at the end of a hectic day or a hectic travel, like you've been crossing highways, you've been riding continuously for last 10 hours, you again rush into this rush hour traffic as you enter another city at the end of it all, and you're left with a heavy machine. You want as light as a machine as you can carry, such that you can get to the hotel and just hit the sack or just crash and burn. So that is where the weight advantage of the R3 really comes into play. Again, the ground clearance is decent enough, 160 mm of ground clearance. The seat height is again very, very friendly for R3 because it's just 780 mm. I mean, even a person who's around 5 feet 2 inches or 5 feet 3 inches can feel comfortable on an R3, but that might not be the case with the RS457. And the chassis again is a diamond frame, and you have USD forks now being offered. You have almost a 300 mm disc, it's a 298 mm disc, and you have dual channel ABS, which is not switchable. You get a 150 section tire on the RS457, whereas you get a 140 section rear tire on the R3. Now R3 gets Dunlop Sport Max tires, which are definitely better, but TVS Eurogrip steel radial are also well developed, because I'm the first to test them. You can see my R15M video where I had put them to the test in real world conditions, and really they came out shining. And even on the RS457, where I was testing the high speed or the cornering stability on track or off track, it really gave me a lot of confidence. So it is good. There are no complaints over there. But yeah, traction control going missing in R3, and color TFT. Man, like, why would Yamaha do that? Like, you're giving a color TFT in an R15M, a 150cc that costs even less than half the money, and for R3 you could have just swapped the cluster. At least swap the cluster, give us a color TFT, such that people can be satisfied when they have a wonderful dash with the the shift light blinking, lighting up like a Christmas tree. You have a color TFT shining bright in broad daylight. It gives you the feeling that you're riding a premium motorcycle. You're giving an LCD unit in 2024 for a bike that costs more than 5 lakhs. So that is unacceptable. So that is something we can argue against R3, that I can say without a shadow of a doubt. And slipper clutch, yeah, a slipper clutch was again, slipper clutch is needed for the R3 because the kind of power it has on offer, especially you hit the triple digit speeds, and the more you go into triple digit speeds, I mean going past 150 and 160, the more comfortable you feel. So at that point in time, when you want to cut down speed rapidly, if you don't have slipper clutch watching your back, the rear wheel, the back torque limiter, if it is not there, so the back torque can kick in and literally kick you out of the scene, out of the motorcycle. So that is a absolute relevant safety thing that they should have included. But apart from that, everything else is spot on. The black color of R3 looks, man, it looks gorgeous. I mean, if I hadn't bought this ZX 6R, maybe it would have been a very tough call between the RS457 and the R3, and maybe I would have ended it tempted to buy the R3 black color. That's how I have kind of like, the more you look at it, the more you fall in love. Another thing I didn't like about the R3 is the tail section. Why would you retain the same tail section as the previous model, a model that is almost 7 years old, like back in 2017 16? You have the same tail section being offered even now. Can't you just give it a fresh new look? Having worked on the front of the bike, why can't you work on the rear section of the bike to give it a fresh new look, a sleeker look, something fresh, something unique to the R3? I don't know. I think R3 deserves a persona of its own. Like, good that they have given the front fascia a refreshed look. They have not copied the R7 look, thankfully. That goes with the R15. They haven't copied any other look. It has a unique front fascia of its own. So similarly, they could have given a tail section. Now, again, when it comes to tail section, let's talk about the 457 as well. Now, it gets the same tail lamp as the RSV4. Which is really good. Again, practicality wise, the seat of the R3 is, both have very not so comfortable seats for ladies, but the RS457 has a very short seat. It's almost just this much. So you can't expect every lady who's going to mount on your bike or hop onto your bike to be a supermodel. So I don't think the RS457 has comfortable pillion seating. So I feel that the R3 has slightly better pillion seating. So that is something you need to note. And apart from that, what else can we talk about? The acceleration and the engine. Okay, let's talk about braking. Braking is really good on the Aprilia RS457. Yeah, I kind of liked it because I did a braking test of 182, slashing down, cutting down really hard to 30 to 20 kilometers, and it really listened to me, and there was no inconsistency, there was no uncertainty. It just came to a standstill in a very controlled manner. So braking is really good on the RS457. Suspension, again, the R3 suspension again is really that USD folks have done a world of good, because the bike I had owned back in 2017 or 18 19ish timeline was telescopic, folks, and this one really gives it the kind of gauntlet that Kong wears in this Godzilla Kong, this thing. It gives you a power enhancement that you are certain that it's going to follow the right direction of travel through the corners, because the USD folks are there to do the job for you, and it really helps, especially on BIC when we were trying to push it a little hard and to its limits. It was listening and following the right direction of travel, right line through the corner. Whichever line you have chosen, it follows the line flawlessly. So that comes courtesy of the USD folks. Now the suspension is not as hard as some of the earlier first gen KTMs, which were purely track focused. So both the RS457 and the R3 come with usable suspension. I mean, it is not too stiff to break your back, but when you compare both of them, only R3 and 457, R3 is slightly better in terms of comfort, RS457 slightly stiffer when compared to R3, but both of them you can use on day-to-day basis. Both will not give you a wrist pain or a shoulder pain after long rides. Both are well sorted. Now the ergonomics. Now the RS457 comes with slightly committed forward bias seating posture, whereas the R3 comes with laid back, slightly sport touring kind of seating posture. So that is where the R3 again shines through as a practically versatile proposition when compared to the RS457. Now the RS457 might cater to more of the young blood, maybe the college students or young professionals maybe, but those who are slightly into motorcycling and they want a mature motorcycle to do it all for them, I think R3 is something that they will choose to go with because of their mature mindset. But yeah, if you want spirited riding, if you are really on your toes and always thrashing across the rev band or riding it at the red line, then the RS457 is the bike for you, because the R3 takes its own sweet time to get there. Once it is there, it is planted, it is rock solid. But the way the RS457 gets to the top end is like pure adrenaline rush. I mean, the rush of blood and your pulsating veins, you can feel the rush, running through your veins, coursing through your veins, the rush of blood. So, rush of adrenaline coursing through your veins. That is where that 270-degree crank comes into play. See, the R3 I think comes with a 180-degree crank angle, but this one is the latest ploy. It enables for compact engine construction and makes things lighter, and that's where the sportiness and the rigidity and the lightweight character comes into play, because there are two things that really matter when it comes to track times or lap times or track dominance. One is lightweight, the other is rigidity. So you have to build your vehicle to be rigid and lightweight, and that is what determines reduced lap times time and time again. So now coming to the braking part, we do get dual channel ABS. The braking is slightly more aggressive, to go with the aggressive character for the RS457. It is a little more laid back for the R3 to go with its character. So both the ways it complements the respective personality properly, and the suspension duties, again, the R3 gets the right kind of suspension that it deserves, and the RS457 gets the right kind of suspension setup this one deserves. Overall, now the final verdict, or rather than beating too much around the bush, is that if you want something to rely on, something that you can bank upon, that you don't want to take chances with, a safe bet, budget is not an issue. You can spend that extra 50 grand, go with the R3. It will not let you down. You will not regret that decision ever. But if you want to taste this adrenaline rush and a new flavor of adrenaline that has been introduced into the market, absolutely gorgeous looking motorcycle where the manufacturer has gone all out and trying to make a performance statement with their machine, well, the RS457 is there. It looks better, it feels better, it rides really good, and it comes with all the equipment that you can think of. So either ways, you want to enjoy your motorcycles. And what is your argument, what is your analysis? Put it down in the comment section, that it can help, so that it can help fellow buyers make up their mind. So I have just put whatever was there in my mind to clarify or make things slightly clearer for you, such that it can open your eyes, help you see things clearly as to what exactly you would be wanting. It's not about just getting carried away by emotion or the spur of the moment. It is about making a calculated decision, because you're spending 5 lakhs at the end of it all. It's not a small amount, and you can't, not everyone can spend 5 lakhs just like 5 rupees. If you're spending 5 lakhs, you're taking an EMI, you're taking a loan, and you're stuck with it for at least 2 or 3 years, and you can't just change your mind and say, okay, I don't like it, I gotta change it, and you don't want to, you can't get rid of it. So it's better you take your own sweet time. Don't take hasty decisions, don't get carried away by emotion. Wait it out, think it over, and make the right choice. So thanks for watching. I just hope this podcast was useful. If it was, please do give it a thumbs up. And yeah, I'm just recovering from back-to-back sunstrokes, because I was shooting for the Transalp in the broad sunlight, then shooting the Aprilia as well. That too happened in the daytime. So there was a little bit of off-road events that happened. So a little bit of sunstroke effect is there. So hopefully I'll recover soon. And thanks for all your love and support. Stay tuned, more action coming up. If you would like to see more podcasts where it's heart-to-heart talk, and which subject you want me to cover, please feel free to mention in the comment below. And also your pick among the RS457 and Yamaha R3, why you would choose it, such that it can help, your analysis may help a fellow buyer narrow up his decision and pick the right kind of machine for him or her. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Cheers.